All right, welcome back to AI for Real Estate. Today we're building an AI personal assistant, and I know this may not look basic, but we're trying to keep this one pretty basic today. So it's really easy to download and plug and play into your own business without too much customization needed. So towards the end, I'll talk about ways we could build on this and customize it, but this is really just the minimum useful assistant that you can put into your business right now. So the way we've got it set up is we've connected it to Telegram, so that way I can send voice messages to it just like Siri, and I can say, hey, will you send so-and-so an email asking about this, or will you tell me what I've got going on this day, or will you schedule an event? So it's got access to my email, my calendar. I've given it access to a couple specific contacts, and then we've also connected a calculator tool to it so that if you're asking for any, quick real estate math, it's actually able to do it instead of asking ChatGPT, which is infamously terrible at math. So let's test it out quick, and then as it's responding, we'll jump back in here and explain what it's doing. So I'll jump into Telegram, and let's send it a voice message. Hey, will you schedule a listing appointment for next Friday the 14th at, let's do 3 p.m., and will you invite Eric Lee to that as well? After you've done that, let me know what I have going on Saturday the 15th, and then email Carson Slate and let him know I've got a listing coming up in a few weeks, and see if he has any availability to do photography for that listing. Okay, so that was a 30-second voice message. It'll go through it pretty quick. It'll probably get back to us in about 30 or 40 seconds. So I'll just walk through this whole thing. So we send the message. It decides if it's a text message or a voice message. If it's a voice message, it just transcribes it to text and then feeds it to our agent. Then it breaks down exactly what we asked for. So in this case, I gave it a couple things. I said, will you schedule this listing appointment with invite Eric Lee? So it will check for Eric in my contacts. It will invite him as an attendee to the calendar appointment. And then I asked it to check what I have going on Saturday. So it will return me a group of every event I have Saturday, which I think is totally empty. And then it's also sending an email to Carson. So we'll jump into these sub-agents. So this is the main agent, the real estate agent, and we say, hey, if you need to do this specific thing, jump into this specific tool. So if it needs to send an email, it jumps into this email tool that has access to send emails, reply to emails, label emails, create drafts, get emails. So if we just say, hey, what's my 5 most recent messages, it can grab that. It can get labels, or it can mark stuff as unread. Most of the time, I just use this to send emails or create a draft. And then same thing with the calendar. It can create an event with attendee, meaning it will invite that person also. So they'll get an email saying, hey, Jake has invited you to this event. Will you attend, yes or no? Or we can just get an event, like when I say, what have I got on my calendar Saturday? Or if I've got a busy day, I can say, hey, what's going on Tuesday? Do I have time for a 1-hour appointment? Where would that fit? And then it could respond, and I could say, perfect, schedule me this event whenever I'm free, right? So let's jump back here and see what response we got. Scheduled a listing appointment for Friday the 14th at 3 p.m. Sent an invite to Eric Lee. I have no event scheduled for the 15th. Perfect. An email has been sent to Carson Slate. So let's just confirm it got all that right. I've got my calendar. Friday the 14th. We got that listing appointment, and it invited Eric Lee. And then, let's see. So this is the contacts database it's pulling from, just so you understand that. So when I say send an email to Eric Lee, or when I say invite Eric to this event, it comes in here, grabs his email, and that's what it's using. Same thing with Carson Slate. I said, hey, send Carson Slate an email asking about photography. So it'll come here, search through the names for Carson, grab his email, and then take it back to the email tool. So let's come to my sent box. You can see I've been testing this out quite a bit today. This most recent one. I'm writing to inform you about an upcoming listing. Could you please let me know your availability for next week? So, and this is something we'll touch on later. This sounds like it was written by AI. So I've set this up to give a signature that says Jarvis, Jake's AI assistant, because no one would believe that a real human being writes a message like that. So really, that's all there is to it. It's got access to our calendar. It can tell us specific events we've got coming up. It can add events. It can email people. I can say, hey, who do I have in here? Dave for title. So I could say, hey, email Dave, let him know that I've got a new listing. I need him to pull a PR. And then it will go in there, send an email to Dave, and say, it'll give exactly what information I give. So if I say I've got a listing at 123 Main Street, ask Dave to get us a preliminary report, it will do that exactly, and then it'll just say from Jarvis, Jake's AI assistant. So a couple ways we could build on this. That's the basic system. And before I go into edits, let me show you exactly how you can set this up for your own account. Let's come back to projects. Okay, so n8n.io. I will link this in the description below this video. Go to n8n.io, and then once we're in, you should have a screen like this. Say start from scratch. We'll click that, and then we will import from file is what we want to do. So if you're in the school group, these will be linked directly below the video. If you're not in the school group will be linked directly below this video. So jump in the school group and all of these will be available. So let's start with the brain. We'll open that up, and then all you need to do once you're in here is connect each of these to your own accounts. So you'll click on this, double click on this, and it will say create a new credential. So you'll want to click that. It'll ask for an API key, and that will be at platform.openai.com. You will need a paid ChatGPT account. So run through this super quick. Log into OpenAI. And all right, so platform.openai.com, dashboard up here. Grab your API key, create a new one, and then we will copy and paste that into here. Once you've done that once, it will link all of the OpenAI modules to your account, which is awesome. Make.com unfortunately does not do that, so this has a leg up on Make in that context. So yep, you'll add your account for this. Same thing with Google. You'll add your Google Sheets account, and basically that'll just ask you to log in with Google. Telegram is a little trickier, so let me walk through that. We'll come back to Telegram, and up here you will, let's see, new secret chat. I don't think that's what I want. Let's search BotFather. Okay, so BotFather is what you want to message. We'll click start. This will give you all your options. So you will do /new bot. All right, new bot, what are we going to call it? We'll say Sarah, real estate assistant. Okay, and then we have to give it a username that ends in bot. So let's say Sarah, has to have underscores, Sarah, RE bot, and that one might be used. Oh, it's not, so I've got that. Okay, congratulations on your new bot. You'll find it at this address, and then it gives us an API token. So once you've got this, you will copy and paste this directly into Telegram. Where are we at? I've got too many windows open. So you'll come here, you will create a new credential, and then your access token is what we just grabbed from Telegram here. So that's all you need to connect Telegram. Paste that in there, and then it'll be watching for messages to that bot. And then we need to set up our sub agents. So I'm going to save this. We'll come here, create a new workflow, and import from file this email agent. Okay, so we've got that. Again, you'll click here, make sure this is linked with an OpenAI account, or create a new credential and connect that, and make sure your Gmail accounts are connected. So create a new credential, log in with Google, make sure those are linked up, and then you will want to update this prompt here. So this says you're an email management assistant. All emails must be formatted and signed off as Jake. You will want to change that. So in this case, we would say like Sarah, Jake's AI assistant, something like that. But you will want to customize that so all your emails don't say Jake at the end. And then you won't need to change anything else. Just link your accounts. We'll save this, and I am going to want to rename this email agent. Okay, and I realized this didn't get renamed, so I've got to open it up to rename it. Say real estate assistant. And I'd just like to make sure it's tagged as the main one, because this will be the one accessing all the other agents as tools. Okay, so we've got our main set up, our email agent, and then last one we just need to import from file. We will grab the calendar agent. So I'll open that. How do I get this to leave me alone? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to name this calendar assistant. Okay. And then again, make sure you're connected with your OpenAI account and your Google Calendar account. And then we will click save if you haven't already. And then the last step is coming back to the main assistant and just make sure these are linked. So name is email agent, the source, we'll say from list. And I've got a bunch of options here. You won't see all these. You'll just see the three we put together. So we want this to be our email. That's not even the right one. Email agent is the one we just created. And the calendar agent will be calendar assistant, was what I just named that one. So that's how we make sure those agents are connected as individual tools here. And then save this. And I didn't actually connect this, but now I would come up here and type Sarah, what did I name this? Sarah Real Estate Assistant? I'll click on this. Okay, so once I've got a chat history with it, it will add it to my contacts. And this is where you can send a message to it. So this is not going to do anything because it's not connected. But you'll be able to, once you've got all this set up and saved, you send a message, it will be all synced up, and honestly that should be all the work you need to do to have this entire thing up and running. So now that we've got that out of the way, a few ways we could customize this, make it a little better. The main thing is adding a few different tools. So right now we've got the email agent, the calendar agent, get contacts and update contacts. So I could message, let's message this other one just to test this. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so I'll say add Mike Smith to my contacts. His email is mikey.mike@fakemail.net, and his phone is, I don't know, 801. Okay. Add a note that he is a... Alright, let's see if this works. Before I tell you it does, I've spent so much time today testing the email and calendar tools and getting contacts. I haven't actually tested the adding to contacts. So Yeah, that didn't work at all. All right, easy fix. I just made a dumb mistake on these. So if you, I should back out without saving and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so in the main assistant, we will click on update contacts. So double click this, scroll down. On these, you can see once you hover over it, it says either fixed or expression. So we want to make sure all of these are set to expression. So we just need to update those. So it's actually reading this as a formula instead of just raw text, and that's what we did wrong. So we'll save that. Overwrite and save. Okay. Back to my contacts. Okay, so I am just going to delete this row. And then let's try that again. And we'll give it 5 seconds. Okay, mic has been added. Jump back here. Okay, perfect. So that has exactly the info we fed in. So we know that works. Okay, so these existing tools work great. A couple other things we could do. One, we could give it access to the internet so it could run a search. What you'd have to do with this, just in case you are really excited about this, we could set up an HTTP request tool. And then I would use probably Perplexity. There's 2 main tools that come to mind. So Perplexity, AI, API. So if you set up an account with them, pay like $5 for API tokens, and then if you are familiar enough with this, you can, documentation, that's what I'm looking for. You can plug in the API reference, put in your API key, and use this to basically give your bot internet access and to do research for you. The other tool you could use is AI search, Tavily. Man, I'm getting all sorts of confused. Okay, this is what I was thinking of. Tavily is the name. So you could sign up for an account with this. Again, you just pay for tokens. They have a free account for 1,000 API credits a month, which honestly should be more than enough. And the cool thing is if we have it connected to the internet, we could say something like, find me contact info for a home inspector in Utah or in Ogden specifically. It would spit that all out in the chat, and then you could say, oh, awesome, add that person as a contact, and then will you send them an email and see if they're available next week for a home inspection. So that is, again, a little outside the scope of this. I know it gets a little more overwhelming the more tools we introduce. So I wanted to keep this fairly simple. You may disagree that this is simple at all. But so that's one tool that could add a lot of usability to this. The other thing, if you've been following along with some of my other videos with make.com, we could set up, really you can build any tool you want within make.com, and then we could set up a webhook here. So let me see what this is called. I guess a HTTP request tool. So we would do post, the URL would be the webhook URL. So we could say, let me think quick. So this is a good example. I have this connected to Go High Level. That's what I use for my real estate business. So I could set up a webhook and say, I could train the agent in here. So let me show you what this prompt actually looks like. Prompt. Okay, so we've got the tools here. Email agent, calendar, get contacts, update contacts. We could add another one. We'd say update, Go High Level, and then we would just name the HTTP module that same thing. We would set that up as a webhook, so it would send all the information to this webhook, and then that way we can use our AI personal assistant to update our CRM, and we can do a whole bunch of different things with the CRM. So let me pull up this. So we can search contacts, update a contact, create a task, update a task, add contacts to a campaign. So maybe I just had a listing appointment with Pete. If he's already in here, I can say, hey, find Pete in Go High Level and add him to my new listing campaign. And it will, trigger this whole tool to go in and do exactly that. Another cool thing we could do, and forgive me, I realize this is way out of the scope of a non-technical tutorial. We could discard changes, set up an AI voice agent with something like Vappy. So if you're familiar with Vappy or not, Vappy is a super cool and pretty inexpensive tool for building AI voice agents. So let me log into this quick. Assistant. Okay, this is just a template. Anyways, so you can connect this. Oh my goodness, I'm getting so far in the weeds here. We could set this up with a make.com tool. So we could create a new scenario. Here we go. All right, so we could say when we receive a webhook, we'll add a webhook just so it'll let us move forward. AI assistant Jarvis. So we could say when I receive new information from this webhook, then I want to make an HTTP call, make a request, and then we could send a request to Vappy to basically trigger a phone call. So we could say, hey, use this specific agent that has this specific prompt. And within this, we could have the prompt as well. So we would have all the contact info in here. If I said, hey, call Carson and see if he has any availability to do photography on my new listing next week, then we would have Carson's contact info in here, what we need from him. We would send it to our AI caller. That would call Carson and do the whole interaction. Honestly, the voice AI is as good or better than interacting with some of the text. It's shocking how well some of these voice agents work. Maybe I'll do a demo on this soon. And then we could set up another tool to, catch the phone call, summarize it, and send us back a message in Telegram again. Or I use this to call real estate leads as they come in, not this exact system. Excuse me, had to get some water. I've got a similar system that says when I get a new Facebook lead, add them to my Go High Level account, trigger this HTTP call that has my voice agent call them, and then I basically qualify the leads, get the call report, and then update them in Go High Level with any info I got on the call. I can update tags on Go High Level and say, hey, this person is, a good buyer lead, a good listing lead, or this is a dead lead. So lots of cool things you can do with this, and kind of complex. It's hard to make a cookie cutter version of something like that. And I didn't intend this, but this is a good segue into saying I do this professionally. If you want a system like this built out for your real estate business or any other business, I've got my Calendly link below this if you're on YouTube, or you've got my personal Zoom link, or you can just DM me if you're within Skool. Anyways, forgive me for getting so off track here, but hopefully this basic agent was helpful. And if you want help building out a bigger system, totally customized to you, that's something I'd be happy to help with as well. And man, the thing I meant to talk about with all of this that I totally forgot, the email agent. We talked about how that doesn't sound like a real person at all. So something we can do with that, if you followed our video from last week, is we've got this system that reads through all of your past sent messages, trains another vector database on exactly what you sound like, and then we search for similar emails and write a new email based on all your previous emails with similar content and context, and make it sound exactly like you. So if you haven't seen this, jump in the Skool group. We've got that video in there along with the blueprint to build this whole system. And this is also a tool that we could connect to this assistant. Instead of just saying, ChatGPT, write me an email, we could say, actually send a webhook over to here, use this tool to write an email that sounds exactly like me, so we don't get these crappy cookie cutter ChatGPT emails. Anyways, so many cool things you can do with this. If you can't tell, I love this stuff. I get super excited. If you're not in the Skool community, jump into there, and I will have all of these files available for you to download within the Skool community.